The wrestling world has officially lost its mind, and Seth Rollins is livid beyond belief. Exclusive leaked footage that surfaced just hours ago shows Becky Lynch in what can only be described as a compromising position with another WWE superstar, and the fallout is already tearing apart one of wrestling's most beloved power couples. This isn't some scripted storyline, folks. This is real-life drama that's about to destroy careers, end marriages, and potentially change the entire landscape of WWE forever. Seth Rollins' reaction has been so explosive that WWE officials are scrambling to contain the damage, but it might already be too late. The footage is spreading like wildfire across social media, and what you're about to hear will make your blood boil with anger and disbelief. Let me break down exactly what happened, because the details of this scandal are absolutely mind-blowing. The leaked footage, which appears to have been shot backstage at a recent WWE event, shows Becky Lynch engaged in what witnesses are calling an intimate moment with a male WWE superstar whose identity is sending shockwaves through the entire wrestling community. Multiple sources have confirmed that this footage was taken without Becky's knowledge during what she believed was a private moment. But here's where it gets even more infuriating. The male wrestler in question has been identified as someone who was supposedly close friends with both Seth and Becky. This isn't just betrayal, this is the ultimate backstabbing from someone they trusted with their personal lives. The footage shows a passionate kiss that lasted several seconds, followed by intimate conversation that sources describe as clearly not platonic. Even more damaging are the text messages that have allegedly been leaked alongside the video, showing weeks of flirtatious exchanges between Becky and this mystery wrestler that will make your skin crawl when you realize the level of deception involved. What makes this even more enraging is that this footage was allegedly being shopped around to various wrestling news outlets and social media influencers for weeks before finally being released. Someone was deliberately sitting on this bombshell, waiting for the perfect moment to detonate it and cause maximum damage to everyone involved. The timing couldn't be worse for Seth Rollins, who has been dealing with his own professional struggles and now has to face the complete humiliation of having his personal life destroyed in the most public way possible. Seth Rollins' reaction to this leaked footage has been absolutely volcanic, and sources close to the situation say they've never seen him this angry in his entire career. According to multiple backstage reports, Seth discovered the footage through social media like the rest of us, which makes the betrayal even more devastating and insulting. Witnesses backstage at Monday Night Raw report that Seth went into an absolute rage when he saw the footage, reportedly throwing chairs and screaming at WWE officials to explain how this could have happened under their watch. One source described his reaction as the angriest they've ever seen a human being, and that's coming from people who work in an industry known for explosive personalities and heated confrontations. But here's what's really going to make you furious: Seth's anger isn't just directed at the mystery wrestler or even at Becky. He's absolutely livid at WWE management for what he perceives as their failure to protect their talent from this kind of invasion of privacy. Seth is reportedly demanding answers about how backstage security could have failed so catastrophically that someone was able to film and distribute private moments without consequences. Multiple sources report that Seth has already retained legal counsel and is exploring every possible avenue to pursue criminal charges against whoever filmed and distributed the footage. He's not just treating this as a personal betrayal, he's treating it as a criminal violation of privacy that deserves the full force of legal consequences. The most heartbreaking part of Seth's reaction, according to those close to him, is that he's not just angry, he's completely devastated. This is a man who thought he had found his soulmate and partner for life, only to have that illusion shattered in the most public and humiliating way possible. Now here's where this story takes a turn that will absolutely infuriate every wrestling fan who hears it. The male wrestler caught on camera with Becky Lynch has been identified, and the revelation is going to make you question everything you thought you knew about loyalty and friendship in the wrestling business. Multiple independent sources have confirmed that the wrestler in question is someone who has been publicly supportive of Seth and Becky's relationship, someone who has appeared on their social media accounts, someone who was invited to their wedding and personal celebrations. This isn't just a random backstage hookup, this is a calculated betrayal by someone who had intimate access to their personal lives. What makes this revelation even more sickening is that this wrestler has been playing the role of the supportive friend while allegedly conducting this affair behind Seth's back for months. Social media posts show this person commenting supportive messages on Seth and Becky's posts, appearing at their public events, and even defending their relationship against online critics. The level of duplicity involved here is staggering. We're not just talking about a moment of weakness or a spontaneous mistake. Based on the leaked text messages, this has been an ongoing emotional and physical affair that involved elaborate deception, careful planning, and deliberate manipulation of people who considered this person a trusted friend. Industry insiders are reporting that other wrestlers are absolutely disgusted by this revelation because it violates one of the unwritten codes of the wrestling business: you don't betray your fellow wrestlers' personal relationships. The locker room culture depends on trust and mutual respect, and this betrayal threatens to poison that environment for everyone. The leaked text messages between Becky Lynch and this mystery wrestler are even more damaging than the video footage, and the content is going to make you absolutely sick to your stomach. These aren't just friendly conversations between colleagues, these are intimate exchanges that show a level of emotional infidelity that goes far beyond a simple physical mistake. According to sources who have seen the complete message threads, the conversations span several months and include detailed discussions about their feelings for each other, complaints about their respective relationships, and plans for secret meetings during WWE events. The level of premeditation and emotional investment shown in these messages proves that this wasn't a spontaneous moment of weakness, this was a calculated affair. What's even more infuriating is that some of these text messages were sent while Seth was dealing with a serious injury that kept him out of action for several weeks. While Seth was struggling with his recovery and depending on Becky for emotional support, she was apparently carrying on intimate conversations with another man behind his back. The messages also reveal that this mystery wrestler was actively encouraging Becky to question her relationship with Seth, making negative comments about Seth's character and suggesting that she deserved better treatment. This goes beyond simple infidelity, this is psychological manipulation designed to destroy a marriage from the inside out. Perhaps most disgusting of all are the messages that show both parties acknowledging that what they were doing was wrong but deciding to continue anyway. They weren't caught up in the moment or confused about their feelings, they knew exactly what they were doing and chose to betray Seth's trust anyway. WWE's corporate response to this scandal has been an absolute disaster that's making the situation even worse for everyone involved. Instead of taking decisive action to protect their talent and address the privacy violations, WWE has been stumbling through a series of tone-deaf public statements that are infuriating fans and making the company look completely incompetent. The first official WWE statement was a generic comment about respecting the privacy of our talent during difficult personal situations, which immediately backfired because it seemed to acknowledge that the scandal was real without actually addressing any of the serious issues involved. Fans rightly interpreted this as WWE trying to sweep the situation under the rug rather than taking responsibility for the security failures that allowed the footage to be captured in the first place. Even worse, sources report that WWE executives have been pressuring all parties involved to handle this quietly and avoid making any public statements that might draw more attention to the scandal. This corporate cowardice is absolutely infuriating because it prioritizes WWE's public image over the very real emotional trauma that Seth Rollins is experiencing. Multiple wrestling industry insiders have criticized WWE's handling of the situation, pointing out that the company has failed to address the serious security breaches that allowed private moments to be filmed and distributed. If WWE can't protect their talent from this kind of violation, how can anyone feel safe working in that environment? The most frustrating aspect of WWE's response is their apparent willingness to sacrifice Seth Rollins' well-being to protect their own corporate interests. Instead of standing behind one of their top stars during the most difficult period of his personal life, they're treating him like a public relations problem that needs to be managed rather than a human being who deserves support and justice. The social media reaction to this scandal has been absolutely explosive, with wrestling fans, celebrities, and industry insiders all weighing in with opinions that are dividing the wrestling community like nothing we've seen in years. The hashtags related to this story have been trending worldwide for days, and the debate has become so heated that it's attracting attention from mainstream media outlets. The most infuriating aspect of the social media response has been the victim blaming directed at Seth Rollins. Instead of recognizing him as the betrayed party in this situation, some so-called fans have been suggesting that he somehow deserved this treatment or that he should have seen it coming. This kind of toxic response is absolutely disgusting and shows how far some people will go to blame the victim instead of holding the actual wrongdoers accountable. On the flip side, the overwhelming majority of wrestling fans have rallied behind Seth Rollins with an outpouring of support that's been genuinely heartwarming to witness. Fans are sharing personal stories of their own experiences with betrayal and infidelity, creating a community of support that extends far beyond wrestling fandom. Celebrity wrestlers and industry veterans have also been speaking out in support of Seth, with many sharing their own experiences of having their personal lives violated by leaked footage or unauthorized recordings. The wrestling community is coming together to demand better privacy protections and more severe consequences for those who violate the trust of their fellow performers. What's particularly encouraging is seeing how many fans are using this situation to start important conversations about privacy rights, consent, and the responsibilities that come with being in the public eye. This scandal might ultimately lead to positive changes in how the wrestling industry handles personal privacy and security issues. The legal implications of this scandal are staggering, and the potential consequences could reshape how the wrestling industry handles privacy and security issues for years to come. Seth Rollins has reportedly assembled a team of high-powered attorneys who are exploring every possible avenue for legal action, and the charges they're considering could result in serious criminal penalties for everyone involved in filming and distributing the footage. Privacy law experts have pointed out that filming someone without their consent in what they believed was a private setting could constitute criminal invasion of privacy in multiple jurisdictions. Since WWE events take place in different states with different privacy laws, the legal team has multiple options for pursuing charges that could result in significant jail time for the perpetrators. Even more serious are the potential federal charges related to distributing the footage across state lines and through internet platforms. What started as a backstage recording could end up being prosecuted as a federal crime with penalties that include substantial prison sentences and lifetime registration requirements. The civil lawsuits are likely to be even more devastating for everyone involved. Seth Rollins has grounds to sue for invasion of privacy, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and potentially defamation depending on how the situation continues to develop. The financial damages could easily reach millions of dollars, especially considering the impact on Seth's earning potential and public reputation. WWE itself could face significant liability for failing to maintain adequate security measures to protect their talent from this kind of violation. If it can be proven that WWE was negligent in their security procedures, they could be facing massive lawsuits from multiple parties affected by this breach. This scandal isn't just destroying Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch's relationship, it's casting doubt on every other high-profile wrestling couple and creating an atmosphere of suspicion and paranoia that could poison the entire industry. Other wrestling couples are reportedly questioning their own relationships and wondering if they can really trust the people closest to them. The psychological impact on other wrestlers who considered themselves friends of the parties involved cannot be overstated. If someone could betray Seth and Becky so completely while maintaining the facade of friendship, who else might be capable of similar deception? The wrestling community depends on trust and mutual support, and this scandal threatens to destroy those foundational relationships. Female wrestlers, in particular, are expressing concern about their own privacy and security in WWE's backstage environments. If Becky Lynch, one of the most prominent and respected women in wrestling, could have her privacy violated so completely, what protection do other female performers have against similar violations? The ripple effects are already being felt in storylines and on-screen partnerships, with writers reportedly scrambling to adjust angles that involve Seth, Becky, or the mystery wrestler. Long-term creative plans that depended on their real-life relationship are being scrapped, forcing WWE to completely reimagine major storyline directions. The fallout from this scandal is far from over, and the coming weeks are going to determine whether the wrestling industry learns from this devastating situation or allows it to happen again to other performers. Seth Rollins deserves justice, accountability, and the full support of the wrestling community as he navigates this incredibly difficult period. What happened to Seth Rollins could happen to any of us, and that's why this story matters beyond just wrestling gossip. This is about basic human decency, respect for privacy, and the consequences that should follow when people deliberately set out to destroy other people's lives for their own selfish gratification. The wrestling community needs to come together and demand better protections for all performers, more severe consequences for privacy violations, and a culture that doesn't tolerate the kind of betrayal we've witnessed in this situation. Seth Rollins' pain and humiliation should never be allowed to happen to anyone else in this industry. This story is still developing, and you can bet we'll be following every twist and turn as the legal proceedings unfold and the wrestling world grapples with the implications of this devastating betrayal. The truth will eventually come out completely, and when it does, justice better be served for Seth Rollins and everyone else who has been hurt by this unconscionable violation of trust and privacy. Are you kidding me right now? The wrestling world has exploded into absolute chaos, and I'm sitting here trying to process what might be the most scandalous leak in WWE history. Seth Rollins is reportedly losing his mind backstage after leaked footage surfaced showing his real-life wife Becky Lynch in what appears to be an intimate moment with another male WWE superstar during what was supposed to be a private rehearsal. And before you even think about clicking away, this isn't some clickbait nonsense. We've got multiple sources confirming that Seth Rollins went absolutely ballistic when this footage hit the internet, and the fallout is threatening to tear apart one of WWE's most beloved power couples right before our very eyes. The footage, which allegedly shows Becky Lynch kissing an unidentified male wrestler during what sources are calling a closed rehearsal session, has sent shockwaves through the WWE universe, but it's Seth Rollins' reaction that has everyone talking. According to backstage reports, when Seth first saw the leaked video, he reportedly threw a chair across his dressing room and screamed so loud that security had to be called to calm the situation. But here's where this gets even more insane, and this is going to make your blood boil. The leaked footage wasn't some accidental camera malfunction or innocent behind-the-scenes content. Sources close to the situation are telling us that this was a deliberate leak, orchestrated by someone within WWE's own production team who wanted to cause maximum damage to Seth and Becky's relationship. Think about that for a second. Someone in WWE, someone with access to private rehearsal footage, made the conscious decision to destroy a marriage, humiliate two of the company's biggest stars, and potentially ruin careers just for what? Drama? Ratings? Personal vendettas? This isn't just unprofessional, this is downright evil. And if that doesn't make you furious enough, wait until you hear what happened next. When Seth confronted WWE management about investigating the leak and finding out who was responsible, he was reportedly told that these things happen and that he should focus on his upcoming storylines instead of personal drama. Can you believe that? The man's marriage is potentially being destroyed by internal sabotage, and management basically told him to get over it. The identity of the male wrestler in the footage is still being kept under wraps, but multiple sources are confirming it's someone currently on the main roster, someone who has worked closely with both Seth and Becky in recent storylines. The speculation is running wild across social media, with fans dissecting every recent interaction Becky has had with her male colleagues, trying to piece together who could be the person in the leaked video. But here's what's really eating at me about this whole situation: Becky Lynch has been completely silent since this footage leaked. No statement, no explanation, no defense of her actions or her marriage. Just radio silence while her husband is reportedly having a complete meltdown backstage and their personal life is being dissected by millions of wrestling fans worldwide. Some people are saying that her silence speaks volumes, that maybe there's more to this story than just a simple rehearsal gone wrong. Others are defending her, claiming that she shouldn't have to explain herself for what might be perfectly innocent professional interactions that are being blown out of proportion by internet trolls and drama-hungry wrestling fans. But let's be real here, if you were in Seth Rollins' position, wouldn't you be losing your mind too? This man has built his entire public persona around being the loyal husband, the supportive partner, the guy who found his perfect match in the man, Becky Lynch. Their relationship has been one of the few genuine success stories in a business notorious for destroying marriages and personal relationships. And now, with one leaked video, all of that is potentially crumbling right before our eyes. Seth's professional reputation is being questioned, his personal life is being scrutinized, and his marriage is being dissected by millions of strangers on the internet. The psychological toll this must be taking on both of them is unimaginable. According to our sources, Seth has been practically unreachable since the footage leaked. His phone is going straight to voicemail, he's not responding to text messages from colleagues, and he's been completely absent from WWE's backstage areas except when absolutely required for his scheduled appearances. Friends and co-workers are describing him as a ghost of himself, going through the motions professionally while clearly being consumed by this personal crisis. But what makes this even more tragic is how this is affecting their professional work. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch are two of WWE's most valuable assets, main event players who carry storylines and draw audiences. This scandal threatens to derail not just their personal relationship, but potentially their careers as well. WWE has a history of quietly pushing performers who become too much drama to the background, and this situation definitely qualifies as drama. The leaked footage itself, and this is where it gets really disturbing, reportedly shows what appears to be an intimate moment during what was supposed to be a private rehearsal for an upcoming storyline. The fact that cameras were rolling during what should have been a professional, closed-door session raises serious questions about privacy, consent, and the ethics of WWE's production practices. Think about it, when wrestlers are rehearsing segments, trying out different approaches to storylines, or working through the physical and emotional aspects of their characters, they should have a reasonable expectation of privacy. The idea that someone was not only recording these private moments but actively looking for scandalous content to leak is absolutely sickening. And here's what's really going to make you angry, this isn't the first time something like this has happened in WWE. There have been multiple instances over the years where private moments, personal conversations, or behind-the-scenes interactions have been leaked or, accidentally, captured on camera. It's starting to look like there's a pattern of using performers' personal lives as content, whether they consent to it or not. The wrestling community's reaction has been predictably divided and absolutely brutal. Social media is flooded with hot takes, conspiracy theories, and personal attacks against both Seth and Becky. Some fans are calling for boycotts of WWE programming until the company addresses the leak and protects their performers' privacy. Others are treating this like entertainment, making memes and jokes about what could be the destruction of a real marriage. But perhaps the most disturbing reactions are coming from those who seem to be celebrating this situation. There are fans and even some wrestling personalities who appear to be enjoying the drama, treating Seth's pain and Becky's humiliation like it's just another storyline for their entertainment. The complete lack of empathy and basic human decency is absolutely disgusting. Wrestling journalists and industry insiders are also weighing in, with many expressing concern about the precedent this sets for performer privacy and the toxic culture that allows this kind of leak to happen in the first place. Dave Meltzer reportedly called the situation a new low for wrestling's treatment of performers as human beings, while other respected voices in the industry are questioning whether WWE's corporate culture enables this kind of behavior. What's particularly infuriating is how this leak conveniently surfaced just as both Seth and Becky were entering major storyline phases. Seth was building momentum for a potential championship run, while Becky was involved in a high-profile feud that was generating significant audience interest. The timing seems too convenient to be accidental, suggesting that someone wanted to maximize the damage and disruption to their professional lives. The financial implications for both wrestlers could be devastating. Endorsement deals, merchandise sales, and future booking opportunities could all be affected by this scandal. In an industry where public image directly translates to earning potential, this kind of controversy can have long-lasting career consequences that extend far beyond whatever personal relationship issues they might be dealing with. WWE's official response has been characteristically tone-deaf and inadequate. A brief statement acknowledging the circulation of unauthorized footage and promising to investigate the matter feels like damage control rather than genuine concern for their performers' welfare. There's no mention of improved security measures, consequences for whoever was responsible for the leak, or support for the affected wrestlers. But here's what really needs to happen. WWE needs to conduct a thorough investigation, identify and terminate whoever was responsible for this leak, implement stronger privacy protections for their performers, and publicly apologize to both Seth and Becky for allowing this violation to occur. Anything less is completely unacceptable and shows that the company views their wrestlers as disposable entertainment rather than human beings deserving of basic respect and dignity. The long-term impact of this situation extends beyond just Seth and Becky. Every WWE performer is now aware that their private moments could be recorded and leaked without their knowledge or consent. The psychological impact of working in an environment where you can't trust that your personal interactions are actually private cannot be understated. For Seth Rollins specifically, the path forward is unclear and heartbreaking. A man who has dedicated his career to WWE, who has been a loyal company performer for over a decade, is now dealing with the potential destruction of his marriage due to the actions of someone within that same company. The betrayal must feel overwhelming and all-consuming. As fans and members of the wrestling community, we need to demand better from WWE. We need to hold the company accountable for protecting their performers' privacy and dignity. We need to refuse to treat real people's pain as entertainment. And we need to support Seth and Becky as human beings first, performers second. This situation is far from over, and the coming days and weeks will likely bring more revelations, more drama, and unfortunately, probably more pain for everyone involved. But one thing is clear, the wrestling world will never look at leaked footage, backstage politics, or performer privacy the same way again. What are your thoughts on this absolutely insane situation? Do you think WWE needs to do more to protect their performers? How do you think Seth and Becky should handle this moving forward? Let us know in the comments, but please remember that these are real people dealing with real pain, not just characters in a storyline. If you thought tonight's story was wild, trust me, what happens next will blow your mind. So don't stop now. Click on the video right here on your screen to continue the chaos, the drama, and the inside scoop only we deliver. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and join the WrestlingNewsCC family, where the real stories of WWE come to life. See you in the next one.